Hello everyone, myself Mr. Shatabdi Dhar, and today in this video I'm going to discuss about a round robin CPU scheduling algorithm. The round robin scheduling algorithm is belonging from the scheduling algorithms of the topic from the unit CPU scheduling. Let us understand through a real scenario. Suppose in a Xerox center there were four customers: customer A, customer B, customer C, and customer D. To make their Xerox copies, like A wanted to have two copies of Xerox, B wanted to have three copies, C wanted to have four copies, and D wanted to have one copy. But there was one problem. The Xerox machine can give only two copies at a time. Then how the customers would get their Xerox copies in somehow following the RR or round robin CPU scheduling algorithm. So the first customer, the customer A, came first to have her two copies of Xerox. As the Xerox machine could also give only two copies, so as per the round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, the task of customer A is fully served by the Xerox machine, and no task or Xerox copy was left to serve the customer A. The job of customer A is completed, and that's why the customer A left the queue and also the Xerox shop. After customer A, as there was customer B in the queue, so C will get the service from the Xerox machine then. But she wanted to have three copies, whereas the Xerox machine can only serve two copies at a time. So C was given only two copies of three by the Xerox machine. And again went to wait at the last position of the queue for her rest of one copy of Xerox. And in the meantime, the other two customers, that is customer C and customer D, came in front of the queue to have their copies. Customer B wanted to have four copies. So C also was given only two copies of four by the Xerox machine. And went to wait at the last position of the queue for a rest of two copies. And in the meantime, customer D came, came in front position of that queue to have his one copy of Xerox. As his number of copy is only one, which is less than two, that the number of copies that the Xerox machine can serve at a time. So the customer D got his required number of copy and left the queue as well as the shop. Now the customer B got again her turn as per the queue. Now as she wanted to have her rest one copy, which is less than 2, that the number of copies that the Xerox machine can serve at a time, so the customer B at last got her required number of copies and left the queue as well as the shop. Now the last customer left in the queue is customer C, who wanted to have her rest two copies, which was matched with the number of copies that the Xerox machine can serve at a time. So at last the customer C got her required number of copies and left the queue and the shop also. Through this real scenario, we can understand about the quantum that can be compared with the number of copies that the Xerox machine could serve at a time. And depending upon that quantum, how all the customers got services, which can be compared with round robin scheduling algorithm. Now, as a definition, what is this round robin CPU scheduling algorithm? The name of this algorithm comes from the round robin principle, where each person gets an equal share of something in turns. It is the oldest, simplest scheduling algorithm which is mostly used for multitasking. In round robin scheduling, each ready task runs turn by turn only in a cyclic queue for a limited time slice, which is known as quantum. This algorithm also offers starvation free execution of processes. Round robin is a preemptive algorithm. The CPU is switched to the next process after fixed interval time, which is called time quantum or time slice. The process that is preempted is added to the end of the queue. Round robin is a hybrid model which is clock driven. Time slice should be minimum, which is assigned for a specific task that needs to be processed. However, it may differ OS to OS. It is a real time algorithm which responds to the event within a specific time limit. Round robin is one of the oldest, fairest, and easiest algorithm widely used scheduling method in traditional operating system. Now here we'll discuss through a numerical example. Consider the following processes, that is P1, P2, P3 and P4 available, each having its own unique burst time and arrival time. We have to calculate the average waiting time, average turnaround time, average response time using round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, where time quantum is given 2. In this round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, we have to create a ready queue as well as the Gantt chart. At the arrival time 0, the process P1 will be started first. So, in the ready queue, the first process will be P1. At the time 0, the process P1 is transferred to the running queue or Gantt chart from the ready queue and will execute for the time quantum, that is 2 milliseconds. And as the burst time of P1 is given 5, so 5 minus 2 equal to 3 millisecond will remain after this process. At the time 2 millisecond, now we have to check which processes are ready to be executed through their arrival time. Here we can see that the processes P2 and P3 is ready for that. So the processes P2 and P3 are placed in the ready queue. Now the process P2 is transferred to the running queue or the Gantt chart. Here the context switch is happened. That is, the process P1 is saved for the latter and the next process, that is P2 from the ready queue, comes to be executed here. Now the process P2 will be executed for the time quantum 2 milliseconds, but As the burst time of P2 is given 4 here, so 4 minus 2 equal to 2 milliseconds will remain after this process.
And the process P1 is stored or saved for the later use in the ready queue. Again, at the time 4 millisecond, we have to check whether any new process is arrived or not. Here we can see that the process P4 is arrived, so it is placed in the ready queue. And from the ready queue, the process P3 is transferred to the running queue for execution and will be executed for the time quantum 2, which is same as its given burst time 2. So the process P3 is executed and also terminated from the process queue. So the remaining burst time for P3 is 2 minus 2 equal to 0. Here also the context switching happened. That is, P2 is saved for the later use and P3 is executed. Now from the ready queue, P1 is transferred to the running queue or the Gantt chart and will be executed for the time quantum 2. And again 3 minus 2 equal to 1 millisecond will be remained after this execution. Now here again the context switching is happened by saving P1 for later use in the ready queue. And the process P4 is transferred to the running queue and will be executed for the time quantum 2. And so the remaining time is completed, that is 2 minus 2 becomes 0 for the process P4. And for this P4 is terminated here. Now again the process is context switched from the process P4 to P2 here. Now there is no process to arrive in the ready queue, so the process P2 is transferred to the running queue and will be executed for the time slice 2 and will complete its remaining time and becomes 2 minus 2 equal to 0. And for the completion of the process P2, the P2 process is terminated here. And now the last remaining process P1 from the ready queue is transferred to the running queue and will execute for its remaining time 1, which is lesser than the time quantum 2. After execution, no time is remaining for the process because 1 minus 1 equal to 0. So the process P1 is also terminated here. So after completing all the execution, the Gantt chart will be shown like this. Now from the Gantt chart, we can see the process P1 is totally completed at the time 12. So the completion time for the process P1 will be 12. And for the process P2, it is completed, actually totally completed at the time 11. So the completion time of process P2 is 11. For the process P3, it is totally completed at the time 6. So the completion time of the process P3 is 6. And for P4, it is totally completed at the time 9. So the completion time of the process P4 is 9. To get the turnaround time, we will use the formula completion time minus arrival time. So the arrival time for the process P1 will be completion time of P1, that is 12, minus arrival time of P1, that is 0, that is 12 minus 0 equal to 12. And the process P2, the turnaround time will be 11 minus 1 equal to 10. And for process P3, the arrival time will be 6 minus 2 equal to 4. and for the process P4 it is 9 minus 4 equal to 5. So the turnaround time for the process P1 is 12, P2 is 10, for the process P3 it is 4, and for process P4 it is 5. To get the waiting time, the formula is waiting time equal to turnaround time minus burst time. So the waiting time for the process P1 is 7 as because turnaround time 12 minus burst time 5 equal to 7. And for process P2, the waiting time will be 10 minus 4 equal to 6. And for process P3, the waiting time should be 4 minus 2, that is turnaround time 4 minus burst time 2 equal to 2. And for process P4, it will be 5 minus 1 equal to 4. To get the response time, the formula is response time equal to CPU first time minus arrival time. So as you can see, the process P1 get the CPU for first time at 0. So the response time for the process P1 will be 0 minus 0 equal to 0. And for process P2, the process P2 got the CPU for first time at time 2. So the response time for P2 will be 2 minus its arrival time, that is 1. 2 minus 1 equal to 1. And for process P3, it has got its CPU for first time at the time 4 and its arrival time is 2. So 4 minus 2 equal to 2 will be its response time. And the process P4 got the CPU for the first time at the time 8 and its arrival time is 4. So the response time for the process P4 is 8 minus 4 equal to 4. Now we will calculate the number of context switching in this round robin CPU scheduling method. Here at first P1 is saved and P2 is executed. So context switching happened here. The first time the context switching is happened at the time 2 and again at the time 4, at the time 6, at the time 8, at the time 9 and 11. For the first time, that is the arrival time 0, and the last time, that is the completing time, that is 12, no context switching is happened here. So the number of context switching will be calculated P1 in the meantime of P1 and P2 and the meantime of P2 and P3, also P3 and P1 and P1 and P4 and P4 and P2 and P2 and P1. So the number of context switching in this numeric problem of round robin scheduling algorithm is 6. So the average turnaround time will be the total of all the processes turnaround time by the number of processes, that is 12 plus 10 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 4, that is 31 divided by 4 equal to 7.75 millisecond. And for getting the average waiting time, we have to add all the waiting time of the 4 processes divided by the number of processes, that is 4. That is 7 plus 6 plus 2 plus 4 divided by 4 equal to 19 by 4 equal to 4.75 millisecond. For the average response time, we have to add all the response time of these 4 processes divided by the number of processes, that is 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 divided by 4, that is 7 divided by 4 equal to 1.75 millisecond. So for this numeric problem of round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, we have got the answer like that: number of switching context switching equal to 6, Average turnaround time is 7.75 millisecond. Average waiting time is 4.75 millisecond and average response time is 1.75 millisecond. Now there are some advantages of round robin CPU scheduling algorithm. Round robin algorithm doesn't suffer from convoy effect since each process is preempted after the time quantum expires. Round robin algorithm doesn't suffer from starvation since there is no priority associated with each process. Since round robin algorithm is FCFS algorithm with time quantum, the response time is better. Implementation is very simple using a FIFO queue. There are some disadvantages of round robin CPU scheduling also. Average waiting time can be high since each process has to wait in ready queue after time quantum expires. More the burst time, higher the waiting time. Low value for time quantum can lead to frequent context switches. High value of time quantum can lead to poor response times and make this algorithm behave as that of FCFS algorithm. Same quantum is given to both input-output bound and CPU bound process, which is not fair. That's why modern operating systems use a combination of round robin and priority based scheduling. Hope through this video I can make you understand about the round robin CPU scheduling algorithm. Thank you for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe my channel.